anniversary the men of the Methodist Church have brought today before God, because it is to God you bring your thanksgiving to. You come to thank Him for life. You come to thank Him for the activities He allows you to do. You come to thank Him for the togetherness that He brings among you. But you come to thank Him because He reminds you that as men you have a part to play. And the first thing you have to do is to walk in holiness before Him, because as men He has made you as priests. So you have to walk in holiness before Him. You have to love Him, because this is the 10 Commandments broken down. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and only me, Him shall you serve. As priests, you have to watch what you say from your mouths, because it's almost like a prayer that you utter. God has brought holiness to you. He tells us in Corinthians, our temple are the temples of the living God. Your soul and spirit connects to the Spirit of God. So when we speak, we must speak with words of positiveness, words of blessings, words of care. We must, within our household, utter words of holiness, words of kindness, words of compassion and mercy, because you stand in the image of God. And that means bringing holiness wherever you go. Wherever you stand there representing priesthood, representing God, being a holy people. We cannot be wayward people. He calls us to holiness through morality. What we say, what we do, how we do it, where we go, all that speaks of the glory of God that is in you. The glory of God is in you. And if you confess Him as Lord, then His holiness must be in you. So that when you pray, He answers that prayer. When you speak and utter, He will answer it. So on our young people, I ask you this day that you will speak words of blessings upon them. That you will say, you are an intelligent boy. You will grow up to be a wonderful doctor. You will grow up to be a wonderful man. You will grow up and be fruitful for this nation. Speak words of life. Speak positive words of life. Because the glory of the Lord is in you and in all of us. Show a bright example to the young men and women. Show them a bright example of how they can live their lives for God. How they can honor God with what they say, with what they do, with how they do it and where they go. Show them what a positive life is and how they can contribute to the life of their family, to the life of the community, and to the life of the nation. Not just the nation of the Gambia, but internationally. You have a role to play in proclaiming the gospel in your lives. And it is for that reason the Methodist Church thanks you for the work you do, the charitable works you do, that you carry out, going to the hospitals, raising monies for scholarships and things like that. You are called to be fathers of the nation, fathers of the church. Be fathers, be husbands, be brothers that are worthy to stand and say, we carry the image of God in us and we will live a holy life. God is calling you today, even as you come, to say thank you to Him. For the many years that the GMLA has been running, for the many years you have worked, for the many years that you stand together in unity, because the fact that you wear a uniform speaks of your identity. And that identity begins in God. Because God says, I am a holy God. And so you love God with all your hearts. You teach your children and young people to love God, to do what is right in the sight of God. And how do you do that? By loving your neighbor as yourself. By what you speak, by what you do. What you don't like, don't do it to someone else. Train up your children to be people worthwhile. And I say your children, don't say I don't have any children. All children are your children. Whether they are yours by natural birth or not. God says he gives you mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children galore. So wherever you go, a child is there, that's your child. Wherever you go, there's a child there, that's your brother. And you speak positive blessings and life into their lives. In the olden days, you see a young boy doing something bad, the men would go there and say, look, I'll deal with you. And I'll go tell your father. When you go, your father says, I'll give you more. What has changed? What has changed? Have we all got too comfortable in our own lives that we can no longer bring up the children in our community? Every child is your child. Every father is your father. Every mother is your mother. Every brother is your brother. And so that makes it your business to make sure that blessing is coming to every household and to every person who comes across your path. You have a gospel to proclaim, a good news, that Jesus Christ as your example has said. Love yourself. And if you can love yourself, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because you can only love another person if you truly love yourself. If you treat another person badly, it means you're treating yourself badly already. If you don't respect somebody else, it means you cannot have any respect yourself. If you cannot honor somebody else, you will get no honor yourself. So God is saying, love God. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do good in the sight of God. Walk in his ways. Forgive. Have mercy on those who wrong you. And he says, go the extra mile. Forgive them so much that if they've hurt you by slapping one cheek, turn the other. It doesn't mean literally we should come and start slapping your cheeks left and right. It means you have to forgive a whole person's lifetime. It never ends, the act of forgiveness. And as you forgive, so God forgives you. As you don't slander someone, so God stops other people slandering you. As you speak good about somebody, so God brings good to you. Because God cares about the world and he wants us to be saved. He doesn't want anyone to perish. And it is for that reason he sends the sun on the righteous and the unrighteous. He sends the rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. We are all created by God. Love God. Have mercy and compassion in your hearts. Care for the weak. Deliver those who are vulnerable. Fight for those who are oppressed. Stand for justice and truth and freedom for all. For everyone. And in this nation that you live, work for the good of this nation. Because it pleased God to put you here in this nation. And I say work for the good of all, everyone, no matter what status, no matter what race, no matter who that person is, man or woman, work for the good of all. Because they're created in the image of God Almighty. Do good to those who wrong you. Do not give evil for evil. Help the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Pray with those who mourn. Laugh with those who are joyful. Strengthen the weak knees. Respect the elderly. Support